without opposition, considering it as an atonement, prayaschitta, for the sin of killing of the relatives. So this ends the first chapter. Now Sanjay, when he concluded that Arjun is not inclined to fight, Dhritarashtra is feeling joyful that now the Pandavas are going to renounce the kingdom, and chalo, now kingdom is ours without any fight only. No need to fight. Without fighting, we are going to get kingdom. In this way, Pandavas are, Dhritarashtra is joyful. But then this chapter, we'll see that how Sanjay, seeing that Dhritarashtra is hopeful of not losing the kingdom of his sons, he is going to begin to describe how Krishna is going to inspire Arjun to fight. So the name of this chapter is Contents of Gita Summarized, because it describes the subject matters of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and also some glimpse of Bhakti Yoga. These are the topics discussed in entire Bhagavad Gita. And in this particular chapter, Krishna is presenting an analytical study of material body and the spirit soul, that is Jnana or Sankhya. He is also going to speak about working with and without attachment to results, that is Sakama and Nishkama Karma Yoga. And there are the characteristics of a person fixed in the conception of real self, Sthita Prajna, that is also going to be described. So we'll begin now. The first section of this chapter is verse number 1 to 10, which is describing Arjuna's indecision and accepting Lord Krishna as Guru. This is the first section. Arjuna's indecision and accepting Lord Krishna as Guru. This is the first section of this chapter. So in the first 3 verses, now Lord Krishna is going to chastise Arjuna. So please recite the first verse.
Okay. Abhishek Gargadpur.
It's Bhagavad Gita 2.1, no?
Yes.
Yeah. Sanjaya Uvacha.
Sanjaya Uvacha.
Tam tatha kripaya vishtam.
Tam tatha kripaya vishtam.
Ashru purna kulekshanam.
Ashru Purna Kulekshanam.
Vishidantamidam vakyam.
Vishidantam idam
Vakyam.
Uvacha Madhusudanaha.
Uvacha Madhusudana.
So, translation. Sanjay said, seeing Arjuna full of compassion, his mind depressed, his eyes full of tears, Madhusudana, Krishna, spoke the following words.
Yeah. So Sanjay is describing the situation of Arjuna now. How he is crying tears and full of compassion, and at the same time his mind is disturbed. So in the purport, Prabhupada is speaking about what are the signs of ignorance of the real self. Material compassion, lamentation, and tears. These are the signs of ignorance of the real self. So person who doesn't know the science of soul, he is more inclined to show material compassion, and also always has lamentation for losing material things, not understanding that the soul is the only eternal factor, whereas all other things are transient. So here in this particular verse, we see that Krishna is being addressed by Arjuna as Madhusudana. Why? Because Krishna killed Madhu demon. So this Madhu demon, Madhu and Kaitaba, these demons were there in the past. They were killed by the Lord Vishnu. So that's why Krishna's name is also Madhusudan. So now we see that this Madhu demon is also compared to doubt. So Arjun, he is imploring Krishna that just as you killed Madhu demon, now this demon of doubt is haunting me. Demon of misunderstanding is taking over me in discharge of my duty. Please kill this demon also now. Please kill this demon of doubt. Please kill this demon of misunderstanding. So Prabhupada says one of the symptom of such thing is no one knows where the compassion should be applied. The real compassion is the compassion towards the soul. So certainly, as last time also, His Grace Arjun Sarthi Prabhu had asked that is it that we should not show any compassion for the body? No, the compassion can be overall. One can show compassion towards body, mind, intelligence, spirit, soul. But if one shows compassion only for the material things and not for the soul, that particular compassion is considered to be incomplete. And it is like Prabhupada is comparing it like simply saving the coat of the drowning man. So somebody who is drowning in the ocean, if he just save his coat, that is not a very intelligent thing. The person also should be saved. So similarly, yes, one may take care of gross body or a subtle body, but at the same time, most important is to take care of the soul of a person, and that is the real compassion. So, so now Arjun was a Kshatriya, and he is supposed to understand these codes and conducts. So, but Arjun got overcome by material conception of life, and that's how his Krishna is there, but to dispel his ignorance and the lamentation which is causing that ignorance. And that's why I'm going to speak now Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. So this is the first verse. So here we saw how Dhritarashtra might be happy to hear Arjun's mood of renunciation, but Sanjay is going to dispel Dhritarashtra's happiness now, saying that don't think that Arjun is going to go away now. Arjun is surely going to fight. So that is what first verse is. Now second verse, please recite.
Aditya Garangru.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Shri
Bhagavan
Uvacha
Kutastva Kasmalam Idam
Kutasva Kashmalamidam
Vishame Samapastitam
Vishame Samupasthitam
Anarya Justam Asvargyam
Anarya Aswaryam
Akirti Karam Arjuna.
Akirti Karam Arjuna.
Translation: The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy."
Yes. So the word now Krishna is going to speak. He's speaking now some things. So he's asking from where such impurities have come upon you, Arjun. So here the word is used by Krishna as Anarya Jushtam. So Anarya Jushtam Prabhupada translates it as it is not practiced by the persons, it is practiced by the persons who do not know the value of life. So this is one meaning of Anarya Jushtam. Those who don't know value of life, such people practice such type of weakness, or such people exhibit such type of weakness. So another meaning of Anarya Jushtam is also, it is not accepted by a noble person. A noble person doesn't accept such type of conception. So in the purport, Prabhupada is focusing on first on Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Krishna is referred to as Bhagwan throughout Bhagavad Gita. Why? Because Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the absolute truth. And then Prabhupada talks about three phases of absolute truth, and quoting this Bhagavatam shloka, Vadanti tat tattva vidastatvam adhyanam yad adhyanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagwaniti shabdati. So we all know these three aspects, right? There is impersonal Brahma Jyoti, there is localized Paramatma, and also there is Supreme Lord Bhagwan. So, and Prabhupada gives the famous example, which you all know, that example of sun. So there is sun god, there is sun planet, and there is sunshine. Sunshine is compared to be like Brahma Jyoti. Sun planet is compared to be like localized aspect of Paramatma, and sun god is compared to be like Supreme Lord. So the point here is that it's a level of realization, although it is the same absolute truth. So if you see ahead in the purport, Prabhupada says the sunshine, sun disk, and inner affairs of the sun planet cannot be separated from one another. So advayam, it is non-dual substance. It is the same substance, it is the same thing, but the students of the three different phases are not in the same category. So certainly all three are in the same all three are the same personality, same substance only, but it is the level of the student who gets different levels of realization. So one who has the realization of Bhagwan, he can realize Paramatma as well as Brahma Jyoti. Just like somebody who goes to sun planet, he can easily understand sun glow as well as the sunshine. But somebody who is understanding only Brahman, he cannot necessarily understand Paramatma or Bhagwan aspect. So the students of absolute truth are at different levels of understanding. Some understand only Brahman aspect, some understand Paramatma aspect, so they can understand Brahman aspect also. But one who understands Bhagwan aspect, they can understand all three aspects like that. So this is one aspect of Bhagwan Prabhupada is speaking about. Next understanding of Bhagwan Prabhupada is talking about the famous Vishnu Puran verse. Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya shashriya jnana vairagya yuktvaiva shanam bhagam itingana. He possesses, Supreme Lord who possesses all riches, all strength, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation. This is also you all know. So Prabhupada is specifically telling third aspect of Bhagwan. Prabhupada is speaking that he is the superior to everyone in this world. So no living entity, including Brahma, Shiva, Narayana, can possess opulences as fully as Krishna. So he is even superior to such great personalities as Brahma, Shiva, or even Narayana. So that's why Brahma himself concludes that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, Bhagwan. And Prabhupada quotes Ishvara Parama Krishna verse. So, and also Prabhupada quotes for avatars of Krishna, Prabhupada quotes this verse, Ete Chamsha Kalapumsaha Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Loka Hridayanti Yuge Yuge. There may be many incarnations, but Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan, is the original supreme personality of Godhead. So in this way, certainly he is superior to all the demigods, but also he is source of all incarnations, like that. So he is the original supreme personality of Godhead. So even other incarnations can be also addressed as supreme personality of Godhead, but Krishna is the original supreme personality of Godhead, who is the source of both the super soul and impersonal Brahman. So basically Prabhupada touched on the four aspects. One aspect was that his Bhagwan means the absolute truth. So which is Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagwan is the quintessence of absolute truth as Bhagwan. Second aspect, possessor of all opulences in full. Third aspect, is superior to all demigods and other, even the most powerful personalities like Brahma and Shiva. Fourth aspect, he is even the source of all incarnations. So in this way, Prabhupada gave the explanation of word Bhagwan. ये सब पूरा श्री भगवान वाच का ही एक्सप्लेनेशन चल रहा था अभी तक. Now next Prabhupada is talking that such supreme Lord is present. ऐसे भगवान कृष्ण सामने है and Arjun is still lamenting. Isn't it amazing? So that's why Prabhupada, it is certainly unbecoming that supreme Lord is present and he is lamenting. Lord is the one who drives away all fear, all lamentation. Simply by hearing Krishna Katha, one can get rid of all shoka, moha, bhaya, paha. But then Krishna is personally present next to Arjun and he is lamenting. That's why Krishna expressed his surprise. Kutaha. It says what? Kutaha. Where from? How can such impurities have come upon you? Person of your caliber is not supposed to have such impurities. So you are like an Aryan. So the word Aryan is, the way it is used in modern context is different. People feel that Europeans and all Germans, they are Aryan. But the definition of Aryan is what? Prabhupada gives a very clearly the definition of Aryan. Aryan is a person who know the value of life and have a civilization based on spiritual realization. Such a person is called as Aryan. Aryan means a person who knows the value of life and have civilization based on the spiritual realization. So the civilization which is based on spiritual realization is called as Aryan civilization. And one who knows what is the value of human form of life, what is the goal of human form of life, such a person is called as Aryan. Whereas those who have no knowledge of liberation from material bondage, such a person is called as non-Aryan. That's why Krishna is saying, your behavior is like anarya jushtam. It is behavior is like a non-Aryan type behavior you are exhibiting. So, why? Because Arjun, although he was a Kshatriya, he was deviating from his prescribed duties to fight. He was not, he was declining fight. And that's what Krishna is saying, this is the act of cowardice. Yuddhe chape palayanam, it will come ahead. Kshatriya is one of the qualities, they will never run away from battlefield. So your behavior is like a non-Aryan behavior. So Krishna is telling, such a deviation from duty does not help one in the progress of spiritual life, nor does it even give one the opportunity to become famous in this world. Akirti karam. Neither you can go get liberation from this material bondage, nor you will become famous in this world. Akirti karam means, in fact, you will become infamous. Log bolenge, "Arey bhag gaya," no battlefield se. No, he is running away from battlefield. In this way, your all types of infamy will happen like that. So Arjun's compassion for his kinsman was not approved by Krishna. So this is what he's saying. So Krishna is telling basically Arjun that his many good arguments are anarya justam, not befitting an Aryan. In fact, such impurities of Arjun are aswargyam. Aswargyam means that will not lead to heaven, Swargaloka. In fact, it will call only infamy to Arjun, akirtikaram. So in this way, Arjun will become infamous in the present, and at the death, he also will not be awarded residence into higher planets. Both way, ihaloka, parahaloka, dono taraf se unka nash hone wala hai. And in this way, Krishna is disapproving Arjun's compassion. Okay, so this is the second verse. Please recite third verse. I think last time we could not, everybody could not get chance, no? I think we are starting new again.
Yes, Prabhuji, last time we had reached the end.
Really, all of you read? I think Shrikar Prabhu, I don't remember him reading. Shrikar Prabhu, you had read last time?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Shrikar Prabhu, not Shekhar Prabhu.
Oh, okay.
The same. So he read, no problem, bro.
So you can
okay.
read now.
Yes.
I think there was a confusion between these two names. And then Yogesh Prabhu, you had read also?
No, I think Yogesh Prabhu had not read
Okay.
last time.
So we can complete.
Yes.
So maybe Shrikar Prabhu can read first and then next Yogesh Prabhu can read.
Okay, Broji. 2.3, na?
Yes.
Klaibyam gamah partha naitat tvai उपपद्यते
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 क्षुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यं
क्षुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यं
हृदये दौर्बल्यं
त्यक्तोत्तिष्ठ परन्तप Translation. O son of Parth, O son of Pratha, do not yield to this degrading importance. It does not become you. Give up such petty weakness of heart and arise, O chastiser of the enemy.
Yeah. So Hare Krishna. So Srila Vishwacharya Thakur, he says that this verse is verbal slap for Arjun. Krishna is becoming strong now, further strong on Arjun. Kshatriya like Arjun, what Krishna is saying? He is saying Klaibyam. Klaibyam in Napumsak. Important person. My God, such a heavy chastisement, right? Even somebody says to us, we'll become so, so shocked, so affected. He's talking to us, he's telling to whom? Arjun like person that you are important. Previously, you had acted like an important man. Like, what is that?
In Virat, this name.
Bruhanalla. So yeah, he had acted like a Bruhanalla. He said, you are actually like that only. Because you are running from the battlefield. So, and also Shudram means you are like a low class person, he's telling. So petty person, you are having petty kind of weaknesses like that. So in this way, he gives a nice slap. At the same time, Krishna is a very good counselor also. He is also balancing by saying two words. One is Partha, you are the son of a noble lady named Prutha. So he's also encouraging him by that. And Parantapa means oh chastiser of the enemy. So he's giving both sides. Thoda pitai bhi kar rahe, and thoda manam patti bhi kar rahe. That's the expert art of counseling. Both ways doing, both things is doing. So this is what Vishwanacharya Thakur is saying. So Prabhupada is saying in the purport that if the son of Kshatriya declines to fight, he is Kshatriya in the name only. And if a son of Brahmana acts impiously, he is a name in Brahmana. He is Brahmana in the name only. So we see that generally the term is used as Kshatra Bandhu. Means although he is a son of Kshatriya, but he doesn't have quality and the activities of Kshatriya. So only Brahma Bandhu. Brahma Bandhu means although he is the son of a Brahmana, born in Brahmana family, but doesn't have the qualities of Brahmana or doesn't do the activities of Brahmana. So such people are almost considered to be on the level of Shudra, although they may be born in high families according to Vedic scriptures. So it is not just based on what birth one takes, but one should exhibit those qualities. Then those persons are qualified to be, this thing. Namesake Brahmana. Nowadays, you see that more or less what is the Brahmanas? People who are born in the Brahmanas, their only value is of the 2 paisa thread. Isn't it? They are namesake Brahmanas only. Although they may fight, very vigorously saying that we are Brahmanas. Similarly, Kshatriyas also. They may say themselves Kshatriyas, but sometimes they act like Gundas, having no character of a Kshatriya at all. They are not protectors. Sometimes they are disturbance creators for the society. So this is namesake Kshatriya, namesake Brahmanas. Whereas there are qualities which decorate a Kshatriya and a Brahmana. Like that. So Arjun was not supposed to be like this. In fact, Krishna is understanding that Arjun is his most intimate friend, and Krishna is personally guiding him on the chariot. So if all these credits are there with Arjun, he's such a powerful lineage as son of Prutha, such a noble lady who is so devoted to her duties. And at the same time, Krishna is personally present in the chariot of Arjun as his most intimate friend, his supreme personality of Godhead. So with this, if Arjun abandons the battle, it would be like committing infamous act, Prabhupada says. So yeah, you can read the last few lines from the purport.
Yes.
Arjun might argue.
Yeah. Arjun might argue that he would give up the battle on grounds of his uh, magnanimous attitude for the most respectable Bhishma and his relatives. But Krishna considered that sort of magnanimity mere weakness of heart. Such false magnanimity was not approved by any authority. Therefore, such magnanimity or so called non-violence should be given up by persons like Arjuna under the direct guidance of Krishna.
Yeah. So non-violence has its use, especially when it is applied by Brahmanas. But Kshatriya on the battlefield, he should not, by weakness of heart, he should not become non-violent. Just because there are front persons are his relatives. That's what is Krishna telling. So his magnanimity, Arjun may say it is magnanimity. Krishna is saying it is a weakness of heart. It's not magnanimity. So in this way, this verse, Krishna is immediately decrying Arjun's decision with the word klaibyam, impotence. We see that Kshatriyas by nature, they are very proud and very, what you say, tejam, they are very virile. So when Krishna is accusing Arjun of these words, impotence and weakness, he is reminding Arjun that, Arey, you are from such a high heritage, how can you become like this? It is not proper. Also, Arjun is the son of Lord Indra, who is himself a great warrior. Indra is also a great warrior and the king of heavenly planets. So, despite getting such a high birth, Krishna is telling Arjun, you should not act like a Kshatriya Bandhu, like that, rather than acting as an actual Kshatriya. So, Krishna has not accepted Arjun's arguments as magnanimous. In fact, he says that Shudra means low class and petty. These arguments are low class and petty arguments. So in this way, Krishna is one sense directly insulting Arjun to challenge him and stir his Kshatriya spirit. पूरा challenge करने के लिए कभी-कभी लोगों को जगाने के लिए ऐसा थोड़ा steering his heart like that is required. So Arjun's Kshatriya bird should be incited. For that, Krishna is little bit challenging him. But then in the next verse, again Arjun is going to try to disapprove Krishna's words. He is not accepting. उनका जो क्षत्रिय खून है अभी तक खवल नहीं रहा है. वो is again next verse is going to he's going to deny Krishna's words. That's what will happen in the next verse now. Please recite fourth verse.
Arjuna Uvacha
Arjuna Uvacha
Katam Bhishma Aham Sankhe
Katham Bhishmamaham Sankhe
Drona Cha Madhusudana
Dronam cha Madhusudana
Ishubhe Pratiyogasmi
Itubi Pratiyogyami
Puja Harvari Sudana.
Pujahara Vadisudana.
Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counteract with the arrows in the battle men like Bhishma and Drona who are worthy of my worship?
Yeah. So Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan says that the word Arisudana and Madhusudana have similar meaning. So Arjuna is using same word two times, showing the bewilderment due to grief. Arjuna is bewildered due to grief, and that's why he is using, according to Sanskrit grammar, it is not appropriate. But he is using the two words of the similar meaning, basically repetition. And that's how it shows the bewilderment due to grief of Arjuna. Like that. So here Prabhupada writes in the purport that in general the etiquette is that superiors are not to be offered even the verbal fight. Even if they are sometimes harsh in behavior, they should not be harshly treated. So That is a etiquette, that even if the superiors are there, they say something that should not be verbally even counteracted. Just if someone superior is shouting on us, doesn't mean that we should shout on them back, isn't it? And even if they become harsh, we should not become harsh to them, understanding that they are superior. So this is a very natural etiquette and the natural code of conduct of Niti Shastra, isn't it? So of course, in modern times, such Niti Shastra has to be also taught very much, wherein children have become very arrogant and towards their teachers, towards their parents, towards the counselor, spiritual master, temple authorities. That this type of Niti Shastra also has to be learned, wherein they understand that this is not appropriate behavior. Even if sometimes the superior may strongly chastise us, but it is not within etiquettes to superior like father or spiritual master or somebody other authority. If they become strongly chastising us, one should not offer a verbal fight. And what to speak of killing? It is too much. That's what Arjun is saying. It is too much. So His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj says very often that even if there is a disagreement, one should disagree with etiquette. This is very important point. So even though we may not approve or agree with the superiors, or for that matter, any other devotee's opinion, one should disagree, but with a proper etiquette. Harsh dealings, harsh replies, or harsh type of behavior is not, verbal fight is not approved, it is not appropriate. So that's why how Arjun was a well-behaved man. He was not an arrogant fellow. He was a well-behaved personality. Susanskarit in Hindi, this word is there, right? He was Susanskarit. He had a good sanskaras. So he thought that, how can he offer he cannot even offer verbal fight with Bhishma and Drona, or to speak of physical fight. Forget it. And he's giving also argument to Krishna. Hey, will you fight with Ugrasena or Sandipani Muni? Are you going to kill them? When you come in front of Ugrasena and Sandipani, you are going to both your head to them, and you are telling me to fight with my grandfather and my guru. How this is? Like that he is putting an argument to Krishna. So Arjun wants Krishna to know that his decision not to fight is not due to weak-heartedness, but it is due to strong-heartedness. It is not a weakness. It is not a Hrudaya Daurbalyam. Actually, it is strong because it's a sanskar. It's the niti. So, it is a proper Vedic etiquette. So, according to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Arjun calls attention to fact that Krishna is the killer of his enemies, not of his guru and grandfather. Yeah, that we saw. So Arjun would prefer to offer flowers at the lotus feet of Bhishma and Drona, not arrows. He will not kill them with arrows. He will prefer to offer flowers because he is very grateful towards them. At the same time, after offering, now here ends all the arguments of Arjun. But what is the conclusion of all these various arguments Arjun offered till now? The conclusion is that Arjun is bewildered and confused. So that will come in next verse. Please recite verse number 5. Any devotee who did not read last time? You could not read last time?
Yes,
The last one.
I did not read.
Yeah, I also did not read.
Okay, so Anil Prabhu
Okay.
first, and then Swapnil Prabhu, and then Varun Prabhu. Fine. Anil Prabhu, you can recite first.
Gurun ahatva hi mahanubhava
Gurun ahatva hi mahanubhava
shreyo bhoktum bhaksham api haloke
Shreyo bhoktum vaiksham api haloke
hatvarta kamastu gurun ihava
Hatvartha kamastu gurun ihaiva
punjiya bhogan budhira paradhikan.
Bhunjiya bhoga nudira pratika.
It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood.
Yes, please read purport.
According to scriptural quotes, a teacher who engaged in an abominable action and has lost his sense of discrimination is fit to be abandoned. Bhishma and Drona were obliged to take the side of Duryodhan because of his financial assistance. Although they should not have accepted such a position simply on financial consideration. Under the circumstances, they have lost the respectability of teachers. But Arjuna thinks that nevertheless they remain his superiors, and therefore to enjoy material profit after killing them would mean to enjoy spoils tainted with blood.
Yeah. So here, although so this fifth verse, Arjun is giving argument that even though these are superior people, so these are the superior people who are my teachers and grandfather, you know. So although they are desiring worldly gain, but they are nonetheless superior. So they are worthy of my respect. In the purport, Prabhupada is giving opposite argument. Prabhupada says in the purport that those people, those superiors who have lost the sense of discrimination and engaged into abominable action are worthy to be abandoned. And what was the abominable action of Bhishma and Drona? They were fighting on the side of Duryodhan. They are fighting on Adharma side. They are taking the side of Duryodhan for what? Some kind of financial consideration, because it was Duryodhan who was paying them salary. That's what Prabhupada says in one of the lectures, that he is giving them money, he is maintaining them by the royal wealth, and because of that, they are siding with Duryodhan. It is an improper behavior, and that's how they have become degraded. Basically, they have lost their proper behavior, and in this way, they are not worthy of still they are worthy of my respect. So that's what he's saying. So we see that Kshatriyas, they do not beg. That is not the nature of Kshatriyas to beg. So without kingdom, Arjun would have nothing to rule. And Arjun is well aware of this fact. But Arjun has become so much weakened that he prefers embarrassment of begging to sinful reactions for killing his worshipable superiors. That's what he says. So, although his present life will be difficult, but he's thinking that his future will be stained with the sin of killing his guru. It may be true that in present I will have to live by begging, and it is a very embarrassing thing. For a Kshatriya, to beg is a very, very embarrassing thing. He cannot beg. He has to rule. But he says that even if I become victorious, such victory and benefits will be tainted with blood, and such victory is also undesirable. So victory is undesirable, and at the same time now, so Arjun, although is saying that he is ready to take that embarrassment of begging, but factually Krishna knows that it is also impossible, and Arjun also knows it hearts of hearts, that it will be difficult to live by begging also. So now the next verse is going to speak about Arjuna's confusion. Okay, so please recite 6th verse.
न चैतद्विदं कर्तन्नो गरीयो
न चैतद्विद्मं करतरन्नो गरीयो
यज्जयेम यदि वा नो जयेयु
यद्वा जयेम यदि वा नो जयेयु
यानेव हत्वा न जिजीविषाम
यानेव हत्वा न जिजीविषामः
तेव स्थिता प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्र
तेव स्थितः प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्राः.
Translation: Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. Yet they are now standing before us on the battlefield.
So basically now Arjun is facing a lose-lose situation now. You understand? Where fighting is also losing, Not fighting is also losing. This is a lose-lose situation Arjun is saying. अरे fighting करेंगे तो भी loss हो जाएगा, क्योंकि whatever we gain by fighting, even the kingdom, it is tainted by sinful activities. So sinful reactions will come, and all our superiors will be gone, all our relatives will be gone. If we don't fight, then we have to live a very embarrassing life. Maybe our enemy may kill us unarmed, or even if we remain alive, if enemy, leaves us, alive, still that type of life we have to live, of begging, which is not our duty as a Kshatriya. So in this way, it's a lose-lose situation. So, so Prabhupada in the purport is saying that Arjun doesn't know that whether he should fight and risk unnecessary violence, or there is a duty of Kshatriya he should fulfill. Like that. So both ways, he should fight or he should refrain and live by begging. Because that begging will be only his means of sustenance. So, yeah. So Arjun is considering basically, even if sons of Dhritarashtra were killed, that is also another kind of defeat only. Even if I become victorious, so, and even if, I kill all the sons of evil Dhritarashtra and evil sons of Dhritarashtra, still it is also kind of defeat only, because all our relatives are killed. Is it a big victory? That's what is his feeling. So, Prabhupada again is coming back to another taking side of Arjun, and he's saying that all such considerations of Arjun definitely prove that not only he was a great devotee of the Lord, but he was also highly enlightened and had complete control over his mind and senses. So why he's saying that control over mind and senses? Because despite there is an opportunity of enjoyment, Arjun is considering whether this enjoyment is right or wrong. He's not just going for enjoyment. Okay, acha hai na, chalo, we will become victorious, we will enjoy the kingdom. No, he's considering whether this enjoyment is appropriate, whether this enjoyment is moral, is it appropriate, is it pious, or is it a sinful enjoyment? So, and also Prabhupada says that Arjun's desire to live by begging, although he was born in as a king, this is the sign of his detachment. That although he needs to rule, but still he is ready to beg and leave. That shows that he is detached. So in this way, Arjun was truly virtuous, and also he has the faith in the words of instructions of Krishna, he says. And that's how Prabhupada says that Arjun is quite fit for liberation. So we see that when there is a chastisement given to Arjun, one should not think that Arjun is a low-class person or something like that. Krishna may call Arjun as low-class just to incite his Kshatriya spirit. But for us, Prabhupada, that's why he's giving us that. Don't think that Arjun is a low-class person. He's a very, very high-class person. And he is fit for liberation. So unless Prabhupada says that unless the senses are controlled, there is no chance of elevation to the platform of knowledge. And without knowledge and devotion, there is no chance of liberation. So sense control leads to knowledge, knowledge and devotion leads to liberation. Like that. So in this way, Arjun is the most competent person. And in this way, he is quite fit for being a liberated personality. So, but at the same time here, this verse is also telling how Arjun is confused. What to do? If he does not fight, he will have to beg. If he fights and win, he will have kill almost all his friends and relatives. So fighting and losing, will mean his death. Therefore, he is confused about his duty. Like that. So in that confusion now, Arjun is going to recite the next verse, which is very, very famous verse, which is very, very well-known verse. So before going for that, there is one question by Avinash Prabhu that from Bhagavad Gita 2.4 and 2.5, there is meter change of the words. Can you explain the reason? Meter change is there in different, there is a various chandas, Anushtupa Chandra, Chanda, and all these different chandas are there. So I have not heard till now any such reason why particular time, particular meter changes. Even in Bhagavatam, you will see that sometimes there is a 8 word, sometimes there is a 12 word, 12 syllables are there in one line. Sometimes there are 8 syllables. There are standard meters, but why to change the meter at all? That reason I don't know. Yeah, some days. Okay, so please recite the 7th verse. I think Varun told it.
Yes, bro. कार्पण्यदोषोपहता स्वभाव
कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः
पृच्छामि तं धर्मसम्मूढचेता
पृच्छामि तां धर्मसम्मूढचेता
यक्षेयशाहं निशितं ब्रूहि तन्मे
यच्छ्रेयस्याहं निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे
शिष्यस्तेऽहं स्वाधिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम्
शिष्यस्तेऽहं साधिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम्.
Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrender unto you. Please instruct me. Pray, should I continue it, purport?
No. So this is a very, very important verse to be memorized, verse for memorization. I think you all are going to have shloka test also. So this is one of the shlokas to be memorized. So in the purport, Prabhupada is telling that, here we see that here Arjun is completely perplexed. Arjun's intelligence has bewildered in trying to understand the implementation of dharma, because there are so many varieties of dharmas are there. Arjun is quoting from different ways. Now he's himself only confused. He's perplexed into trying to understand what is the real implementation of dharma, how dharma should be implemented in this particular situation. So what is Arjun's confusion? Should I dutifully fight or risk unnecessary violence? Should I refrain and live by begging? Victory anyways is not certain. Victory is also defeat, as we can't live happily after killing relatives. So these are all confusions of Arjun. So therefore, now Arjun is doing right thing. What he's doing is submitting himself as a disciple to Krishna, seeking his guidance. That's what Arjun is going to do now. So purport Prabhupada says, by the nature of nature's own way, a complete system of material activities is a source of perplexity for everyone. So not only Arjun is bewildered, the way this material world is, that everybody comes into this particular situation of perplexity. And the only solution Arjun is teaching us by ideal example, in order to come out of such perplexities of life, is to approach a bona fide spiritual master who can give proper guidance. Like that. And Prabhupada compares such perplexity to be like forest fires. Nobody goes and leads the forest fire, they automatically happen. Similarly, the perplexities of life automatically appear. Nobody has to make them. The nature of whatever world is itself like that, there is always some confusion. Should I do this? Should I do that? So, in order to solve such perplexity of life and understand the science of the solution, one must approach spiritual master who is in disciplic succession. So why should one approach Guru? Not just to get some kind of name change or some prestige in the devotional society. The purpose of accepting a Guru is to solve the perplexities of life and understand the science of solution. What is the solution? What is the spiritual solution for this spiritual life? For that, one should approach a spiritual master. And then Prabhupada says further, who is the man in material perplexities? One who doesn't understand the problems of life. Such a person is called as person in material perplexities. And Prabhupada is quoting Brihad Aranya Upanishad. Yava etat aksharam gargi aviditasma lokat praiti sa krupanaha. So, krupanaha person is the one who gets into perplexity. What is that krupana person? A miserly man who does not solve the problems of life as a human being and who quits his world like cats and dogs without understanding the science of self-realization. Such a person is called as Krupana. So word Krupana basically means conjuice. So what is conjuice in this? We know conjuice person means he has money, but he doesn't utilize it. Isn't it? You understand? This is called a conjuice. Or he has knowledge, but he doesn't share, or he doesn't utilize that knowledge properly. Such a person is called as conjuice. So Krupana here, why Arjun, why he is saying Krupana word here? Because it's not that Arjun is not giving charity or something, or is withholding knowledge or something. No. But the reason why this word Krupana is used, Karpanya dosha, why is he saying miserly weakness? Because as per this Aranyaka Upanishad, if one has got human form of life, it should be utilized for self-realization. Human form of life is meant to be utilized for self-realization, but not using it for self-realization and using it for a sense gratification like of the lower animals. So that is the underutilization of human form of life. Just imagine if you have a, Mercedes-Benz car, and if it is, you have open road fully, but if it is used, for plowing a field, it is a gross underutilization of Mercedes-Benz car, right? It should not be used for plowing the fields, or it should not be driven like a Luna, something like that, or a Belgadi. It can go faster, so it can be used for that. It is underutilization of Mercedes-Benz car, isn't it? So same way, human form of life is so precious. The intelligence, consciousness is so much developed. So with that developed intelligence, one should take advantage of this human form of life and enter into spiritual inquiries and try to practice Krishna consciousness, because this is possible only in human form of life. No other life has got this facility. So rather than using it for going above, getting out of this material bondage, which is possible in human form of life, if one uses it only for a sense gratification like animals, then that is miserly behavior. On the other hand, yadetag aksharam gargi viditasma lokat traiti sa brahmanaha. Purpose says, on the other hand, one who is intelligent enough to utilize his body to solve all the problems of life is called as Brahmana. What do you mean by solving all the problems of life? One way one may solve the problems of life, like there is less money, so okay, one may earn more money. Oh, there is a health problem, okay, one may solve the health problem. Certainly, these may be the problems of life, but solving all the problems of life means what? Solving the problem of birth, old age, disease, death. These problems should be solved. Adi Bhautika, Adhyatmika, Adi Daivika, these problems should be eradicated in total. That is the real problem solving. So yes, our day-to-day life problems were to solve. One is not denying that, but also one should see that how one can solve this. These the real problems of life, that is birth, old age, disease, and death. So Brahmana means one who makes a definite solution for it. And what is a definite solution for solving these problems? Yes, of course, regaining our spiritual position, going back to our original position in the spiritual world, where there is no misery at all, there is no problem at all, like that. So further, in the purpose says that one is often attached to family life, namely to wife, children, and other members on the basis of skin disease. So this is different type of skin disease, not the skin disease we know. There may be different skin diseases, isn't it, we get. But what is the skin disease implied over here? Because of a particular type of body, one becomes attached to those who are related to that body. So I, me, and mine. This disease is called as skin disease. Skin disease means I, me, and mine. So whole thing based on bodily or identification. So what is the mentality of Krupana? Prabhupada says he thinks that he is able to protect his family members from death, or his family members or society can save him from death. So that is his particular symptom of a skin disease. So, but Prabhupada says such family attachment can be found even in the lower animals who take care of their children also. So Being intelligent, Arjun could understand that his affection for family members and his wish to protect them from death were the causes of his perplexities. So that is the cause of his perplexities, because he's thinking wholly from the material point of view. So although he could understand that his duty to fight was awaiting him, still on the account of miserly weakness, he could not discharge his duties. So here the word, so first one is karpanya dosho, word Prabhupada has explained. What is miserly? Weakness. Apata svabhaha tuchramitam dharma sammuda cheta. Dharma sammuda cheta. The dharma sammuda cheta means that one is bewildered about one's duty. So these material attachments, they make us weak-hearted. These material attachments, they make us weak-hearted. And what is that weakness of the heart? The weakness of the heart precisely means that although we know what is right, but we cannot do that right thing. That is called as weakness of heart. हमको पता है ये करना चाहिए, फिर भी हम नहीं करते. This is the precise symptom of weakness of heart, isn't it? So any one of you ever undergo this weakness of heart in your life? Yes, isn't it? All of us at different points of time. Like we know that we should chant attentively every day, but still, if we don't pay attention to good chanting, that is a weakness of heart. We know philosophy very well, isn't it? But when it comes to implementation, then it becomes a problem. So that is what is weakness of heart. So more we feed these attachments, what is the reason of such weakness of heart? Due to material attachments. And more we feed material attachments, more we become spiritually weak in spiritual life. We become spiritual life, we become weaker and weaker and weaker by feeding material attachments. So that's why a devotee should feed spiritual side of himself also. He should become stronger in spiritual convictions. So that is important. Similarly, there is a dharma sammudhata is also another thing which also every person in this world faces. Actually, from these points, why we are discussing, because many times people feel that, oh, this Bhagavad Gita is an outdated thing. It is spoken 5,000 years ago. Is it relevant for modern times? So that's why we are talking, because it is relevant. We all face weakness of heart. So this dharma sammudha nature, that what to do and what not to do. What is my duty? The confusions about what is the right thing to do, what is the wrong thing to do. So this type of confusions also every person faces. Of course, a person who is cultured, only such a person faces this confusion. What to do and what not to do. A person who is uncultured, whose philosophy is what? Just do it. Just kar lo, just live and enjoy life. Do what feels good. Ye jinka philosophy is, for them there is no confusion. Why? Because they just do what feels good. If it feels good to chant, chant. If it feels good to eat meat, eat meat. If it feels good to go for a walk, go for a walk. If it feels good to sit, sit. So somebody has this philosophy, there is no confusion. But one who is a cultured person, who knows that there is something called right and something called wrong. It's not just what I feel is important. It is important what is right and what is wrong, not just what I get a feeling. So such a cultured person sometimes get a confusion. What is my dharma in such a state? What is the right thing to do? And what is the wrong thing? What will be the right decision and what will be wrong decision? A cultured person sometimes get into such confusions. So all these are symptoms we see. Also, third thing word comes here is shreya. Shreya means long-term benefit. Whereas the another word comes is preya. Preya means short-term benefit. So another sign of a cultured person is that he thinks about long-term benefit, not just get satisfied by some short-term benefits. So Arjun is a cultured personality. He is a devotee of the Lord, and that's why he's asking, what is Shreya for me in my long-term life? Not only this life, after this life also, what is beneficial for me? You tell me that. So these are the three very important words. That's why, karpanya dosha, miserly weakness. Secondly, dharma sammudha cheta. the bewilderment of what is right or wrong, or what is a duty to be performed at particular situation. And third thing is Shreyaha, what is my ultimate benefit. So all these three things are very important. In order to know this answer for this, what one has to do, Prabhupada says, one has to offer oneself to some particular spiritual master as a disciple, the way Arjun is offering himself to Krishna as a disciple. So now Arjun wants to stop all friendly talks. Friendly talks means what? Arguments, right? When we had talks with our friends, even with devotee friends, what happens? One puts one argument, another puts another argument, and simply there is argument. But now Arjun wants to stop friendly talks. Now he says, Krishna, you tell me and I'll accept. I may ask questions, but there is no arguments. Till now we were arguing, so there was a friendly relationship. But now no more friendly relationship. Now I have become your disciple, and the talks between master and the disciple are serious ones. There is not just empty arguments. There is no casual talks. There are serious talks between spiritual master and disciple. And that's why Arjun wants to talk very seriously before recognize spiritual master, who is Krishna, who is the original spiritual master. And that's how Arjun is becoming first disciple. And Prabhupada is giving kind of a slap to mundane scholars, saying that one should submit, mundane scholars may think that it is not one should surrender not to Krishna, but to something unborn within Krishna. But one should understand there is no difference between Krishna and something within himself. Within or without, Krishna is pure spiritual body. We may have difference between our body and spiritual, but Krishna is not like that. So there is no need to screw out some speculative meanings like this, that Krishna is not telling, Arjun is not surrendering to Krishna, but something unborn within Krishna. It is not like that. Krishna is the same person, within and without, like that. So this is the 7th verse, wherein Arjun has based his reasons not to fight on compassion, logic, and Shastra. Yet the result of his reasoning has been confusion. So although Arjun has given a lot of arguments, but ultimately he is becoming confused. And therefore, to remove his confusion, Arjun is surrendering to his Guru, Shri Krishna, like that. So Prabhupada is explaining precisely that on our own, we will always become confused, despite our best endeavors to solve problems. And that's why guidance is a very important aspect for every person. Every person needs a guidance, and that's why every person needs a guru or a teacher who can solve his perplexities. How much ever we may try to think on our own to solve the problems, it is not possible. That's why the importance of guidance from a bona fide personality is very much stressed by Prabhupada. So now Arjuna is surrendering to Krishna in text 7, this particular text. So naturally, what we'll expect in the next verse, Krishna will begin his instructions. Isn't it? That's what we'll expect. Okay, Arjuna abhi surrender kar diya na, bol gaye ki aap guru ho, hum disciple hai. So now Krishna should begin instructing Arjuna in the 8th verse. But it doesn't happen. Till now, Krishna has not accepted Arjuna as his student. That is not happened yet. Although Arjuna is surrendering to Krishna as his guru, Arjuna is saying that I am your disciple, or Krishna, you are my guru. Still, guru has not accepted disciple. So in Diksha, both is important. One may accept a guru, but guru also has to accept us, right? It's not that only one said that I want this guru, but whether guru is accepting or not, that is important point. So when Arjuna is saying, I am perplexed, confused, and I want to surrender to you, Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan gives Krishna's reply. He says, you know Shastra, why not use your own logic and reasoning? That's what Baldev Vidyabhushan is telling Krishna's arguments. Although they are not here in the verse, but the acharyas can understand the mind of the Lord and the devotees, and that's why they give these statements. So he is telling that, you are the knower of Shastra, why you are surrendering to me? You use your own logic and argument. Abhi tak to waise bhi wahi kar rahe karte aa rahe aap hai ki nahi? And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, what he says, Krishna is saying, I am your friend. I am not in the mood of becoming your guru or something. So how can I accept you as my disciple? So you have a respectful attitude We are having a friendly relationship, but you have respectful attitude towards Vyasadev and others. So go to them. Better ask them. Why you are asking me? Go to Vyasadev or somebody to whom you respect as a guru. Now our relationship is a friendly relationship. So in this way, Krishna's initial response to Arjun surrendering unto him was to test the determination of Arjun. So like that, it is testing the determination of Arjun. And now that's why in the next verse, Arjun is further expressing his desire to surrender to Krishna. That is going to happen in the next verse. Okay, so please recite. Any other devotee who did not read last time? Okay, all devotees read, it seems. The purpose that we are giving all of you to read is so that you also get the practice of reciting verses. Everybody should get practice of reciting Sanskrit verses. That's why, and you cannot become off also. So that is another purpose. Okay, Shantana Prabhu, you can allot now next devotee for 8th verse.
Yes, Guruji. Aman Kumar Prabhu.
Nahi prapsyami mama mudya
Nahi
prapashyami
mamanupadya
yasyokam uchoshanam indriyanam
yashokam uchoshanam indriyanam
abhya bhumava asaptanam ritam
avapya bhumau asapatnam ruddham
Rajyam Suranam Apicha Shadipatyam.
Rajam Suranam api chadipatyam.
Translation: I can find no means to drive away this grief, which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it, even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven.
Yes, please read purport.
Yes, please. Purport. Although Arjuna was putting forward so many arguments based on knowledge of the principles of religion and moral codes, it appears that he was unable to solve his real problem without the help of the spiritual master, Lord Sri Krishna. He could understand that his so-called knowledge was useless in driving away his problems, which were drying up his whole existence, and it was impossible for him to solve such perplexities without the help of a spiritual master like Lord Krishna. Academic knowledge, scholarship, high position, etc., are all useless in solving the problems of life. Help can be given only by a spiritual master like Krishna.
Yes.
Therefore,
So, yes, thank you. So we see here that Prabhupada is stressing that although Arjuna has put on lot of arguments like a big Pandita, but still he is not able to solve problem. So that means that academic knowledge, scholarship, or even high position, all these things are not useful in solving the problems of life. One has to approach the bona fide spiritual master only. And what should be such bona fide spiritual master? He should be 100% Krishna conscious. Such a person is the only one who can solve the problems of life. And another thing Prabhupada is quoting Kiba Vipra Kripanyasi verse. What are the qualifications of spiritual master Prabhupada is quoting? So first one is he should be 100% Krishna conscious. Second is, it doesn't matter whether he is from whichever caste, whether he is Brahmana, whether he is sannyasi. So Varnashrama position doesn't matter. One who knows the science of Krishna consciousness, he can become Guru. So for that he is quoting Kiba Vipra Kripanyasi verse. Then third, he is telling that he should be a Vaishnava, and a Vaishnava, even though he may be born in a high family, who is expert in all the mantra tantras of Vedas, but still he cannot become Guru if he is not a devotee. Whereas even if a devotee is born in a Shokacha family, even if a dog eater family, such person, if he is a Vaishnava, he can be Guru. So Prabhupada is quoting that from Padma Purana. So these are the three things Prabhupada is quoting. That the caste doesn't matter, or Varnashram position doesn't matter. One should know the science of Krishna consciousness. One should be 100% Krishna conscious. Third thing is, person should be, it is not sufficient to be just expert in various Vedic techniques. One should be a proper Vaishnava to be in order to be a spiritual master. So the whole point is that the problems of life cannot be countered by material solutions, simply by wealth or economic development. And Prabhupada is giving a very solid argument ahead. There is so much of economic development in many countries. Are they happy? Recently, Rajasham was showing us one this thing, that America poses themselves to be the richest country, but at the same time, they are the most sickly country also. They are number one in sickly country, being sickly country also. Apart from that, so many people have a lot of problems, and difficulties. So although they have enormous amount of economic development, but despite economic development, they are not happy. And we see even in the individuals also, those people who are richest, can we say that they are happiest? Can we confidently say that all the richest people are happiest? So it is not like that, isn't it? So the happiness cannot be guaranteed simply by having material assets, wealth and economically developed. So Prabhupada is that's what saying, that although there are many states in the world who are replete with facilities of life, full of wealth and economically developed, yet the problems of material existence are still present. So one says even in this material level, people are not happy, despite having all economical opulences. What to speak of spiritual problems? These problems of birth, old age, disease, that cannot be solved by any material qualifications. One need to only take to spiritual life in order to solve them, isn't it? So that's why one should learn the science of Krishna from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, from a bona fide spiritual master. So Prabhupada said, if at all, here Arjuna is saying what? Even if I gave the sovereignty of the whole world, or even for that matter, upper planets, even if I win prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on the earth, with sovereignty like demigods in heaven, still I will not be able to solve the problem. So Arjuna is saying basically, that means Prabhupada is saying that Arjuna is telling that even though I become the king of the heaven and get a full kingdom, still I will not be able to solve my problems. That shows that only economic development cannot solve all the problems of life. That's what Prabhupada is saying in the last paragraph of the purport. Otherwise, Arjuna would not have said so. Arjuna would have said, okay, if I become a king, then all the problems will be solved. But he understands that that is not going to solve the whole problems. So that's why he's taking refuge in Krishna consciousness. So this is the ideal example. A devotee takes refuge in Krishna consciousness. One who understands this concept, he understands that the only refuge is the refuge in Krishna consciousness. And that is the right path for peace and harmony. So other things in this world, they are temporary. They can be finished at any point of time. But what remains with a particular person is always this practice of Krishna consciousness. Everything will be lost, material will be lost over the period of time. But Krishna consciousness will remain with a person always. So Prabhupada says ahead, if you want to curb the lamentation for good, then we have to take shelter of Krishna, as Arjuna is seeking. So basically the whole gist of the whole purport over here of this particular verse is what? In order to really solve the problems of life, one has to, the material commodities will not help. Material assets and prosperity will not help. One has to take to spiritual life. One has to take refuge in Krishna under the bona fide spiritual master. And in this way, again, Arjuna is asking Krishna to enlighten him and dispel his distress. He is again asking the same thing to Krishna. So now, in the next verse onwards, Sanjay is going to disappoint Dhritarashtra by seeing how Arjuna is getting inspired by Krishna now. In this way, Dhritarashtra's happiness, which had come, seeing that Arjuna is going to run away from battlefield, that is going to be dispelled now. And Sanjay is going to tell, don't think that Arjuna is going to run away from battlefield. Krishna is going to inspire Arjuna to fight. And in this way, the happiness which Dhritarashtra has been received, he is going to be disappointed by Sanjay's words ahead. But our time is up today, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. We'll meet tomorrow again at 7 o'clock. Shrimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Pad ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So
Thank
those
you
who
very much,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
thank you
Thank you.
very much. Those who wish they can carry on. There are some questions I will answer. Those who wish they can carry on, but Arjun was giving arguments why not to fight in the previous verses. He was seemingly firmly convinced that he should not fight. Then how become confused? Yeah, because he also understood that the duty of being Kshatriya was also waiting for him. He was well aware that it is his duty to fight as a Kshatriya also. That was a confusion. On one side, he was thinking that, oh no, this fighting and all will bring all types of misfortune. At the same time, he was also knowing that it is a duty, to fight as a Kshatriya. And that's why he got confused now. Should I do my duty or should I be soft-hearted towards my relatives and go away from battlefield? That was a reason for his confusion. Refuge. Taking refuge means shelter, basically. If one is in big problem, just like a person who is in a hot day, if he is in the afternoon, in a hot season, summer season, in the afternoon, he is becoming really, tired and very much heated up. His body is heated up because of traveling in the hot atmosphere. As soon as he finds a nice banyan tree having a very thick shade, he comes under that shade and he feels a refuge. Refuge is like a shelter. How happy he feels, isn't it? How relieved he feels, relieved of all troubles of that heat, relieved of all the tiredness which comes from the enormous traveling. He feels very happy. So this is what Bhagavatam gives example. Antasva sharanam yatha. Bhagavatam gives that analogy. So that is what is refuge. Refuge means shelter. Taking shelter in Krishna. So when we take shelter of Krishna consciousness, it is like a refuge from all the troubles of life. Should we remember exact translation of the verse for shloka text? Exact translation, even if we are not able to remember, but at least we should be able to cover all the points. That is a necessity. If you miss out some important points, then that is not a perfect recitation. So for shloka test, one should be able to remember all the components of the translation. So even if the grammatically things go here and there, or we may speak it in our own words, that is all right. So one doesn't have to mug up the translation, but at least all the components of the translation should be covered. Like, okay. So should we stop?
Arjun Sadidas here.
Arjun.
Guruji, did Guruji say anything about this text 6? The first question that you answered, when Arjuna was about to give up and he has made up his mind also. But all of a sudden we see a change in his heart saying, he still thinks that, okay, maybe what I'm thinking is not right and I should still fight back.
Yeah. So that's what he's telling. Nor do we know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. If we kill the sons of Dhritarashtra, we should not care to live. Yet they are standing before us as in battlefield. So that's why previous arguments were there. No? If one is thinking that I may be just killed only, and if I am killed without fighting, it is not beneficial for me. Second thing is that even if I am not killed, I have to live by begging. So that is an embarrassing situation. One sense I am preferring. Third is my duty of a Kshatriya is waiting. What about that? So that way it is a confusion creating for him. One sense he is like convinced that yes, I should not fight. That's why it will come also in the next verse. He says, I shall not fight Govinda. He says like that. But at the same time, in another side of his heart, he's also saying that what about my duty? And even the consequences of not fighting are also not good.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what is a lose-lose situation he's facing. So this is like a tug of war. Tug of war means this side also we go, there is a problem. That side also we go, there is a problem also. Donos, damn if you do, damn if you don't. That is what is Arjun's situation now.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, Guruji, another question is, we saw that Prabhupada sometimes is actually praising Krishna, praising Arjuna for his arguments, and sometimes he is taking the side of Krishna, giving his Hridaya Daurabalyam. So, do we understand it's like the compassion or the attributes that Arjuna is showing? If they are substantiated from on the basis of the scriptures, then that's not the Hridaya Daurabalyam. And as long as it's just meant for the material body without caring for the soul, or we don't substantiate that based on the scriptures, then only it is a Rubalyam.
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
Yes, that's what it is. If as long as Arjun is thinking only on his own speculative basis, that is a Hridaya Daurabalya.
Okay.
But at the same time, we see that Arjun is substantiating things based on scriptures also. It's not that that's why our acharyas say that he's quoting Dharma Shastra,
Mhm.
Artha Shastra, Niti Shastra, you know. So it is not that he is talking only on a speculative basis. But at the same time, why it is Hridaya Daurabalyam? Because rather than asking Krishna, who is the master of all religion, who is the source of all religion, he is trying to give another arguments, and just to support his this thing. This is one way of Hridaya Daurabalyam we can see. And certainly there is a dharma levels are also there. So on one level, Arjun is correct only. How can one kill relatives? That is correct only. But when the relatives become, adharmic, then the dharma is different. In general, we should not kill the relatives. That is very true. And that is obviously true. Similarly, one should respect superiors. How can one kill superior? This is very true. Himsa is very important dharma. Ahimsa is a very important dharma. Isn't it? Lord Buddha also propagated ahimsa paramo dharma. It's a very important part of dharma. One should be non-violent. But on the battlefield, one should not try to become non-violent. In general, it doesn't mean that one should keep on killing people. But when one is on battlefield, especially when one is fighting dharma yuddha, there should be one should not practice non-violence there. In general, one must respect only one's superiors, relatives. One should protect them, not kill them. But when the relatives have become now adharma side and they are only fighting against us and they have become adharmic, then the fighting has to be justified. So in this way, he is sticking to lower dharma, not taking the highest dharma of what Krishna wants him to do. That is the highest dharma. So that is also weakness of heart.
Okay. So on the other side, like we see Bhishma and Dronacharya. Actually, I mean, if we see like in after the battlefield of Kurukshetra, we see Bhishma is actually teaching what is dharma to Yudhishthira and Pandava. So it's very difficult to understand that they did not understand that siding the Duryodhana side is not a dharmic. Absolutely. I mean, how do we take that? Because it doesn't look like they didn't know it. Was it because of the Leela of the Lord? How do we take it? Or certainly they knew what is wrong, what is right. And he's also telling Duryodhana also, right? Like, because there is a Krishna on the other side, they're certainly going to win. So he knew very well, but still he couldn't give it up. I mean, still he could take the side only of Duryodhana, and why not Arjuna?
So when Yudhishthir Maharaj and Pandavas, on the order of Krishna, they approached Bhishma Dev for giving the instructions on dharma when Bhishma Dev is lying on the bed of arrows. So that time when Bhishma Dev about to speak, Draupadi starts laughing. And then Bhishma Dev says, I know why you are laughing. You may be thinking that when I was getting disrobed, that time where was your dharmic principles? You allowed my disrobing and now you are speaking big on dharma. It is a hypocrisy, you may be thinking. So Bhishma Dev tells Draupadi, that time the impure blood created by the food given by Duryodhana was flowing in my body. Now your husband Arjun has drained all that blood down. And now I can speak on dharma because that impure blood has gone. He says like that. So now I am qualified to speak on dharma. Now you listen, I speak on dharma. Because वो जो impure blood था ना, वो तुम्हारे husband ने पूरा निकाल दिया है अपने शरीर से. So this is one aspect Bhishma Dev is saying. But we know that first of all, Bhishma Dev, we know the ultimate thing. Ultimate thing is that Bhishma Dev is a pure devotee of the Lord. And he is, it comes in Bhagavatam. If you read Bhagavatam, Bhishma is passing away, that section, that chapter. in the Shrimad Bhagavatam first canto, this chapter Bhishma Dev passes away. In that, Prabhupada clears this off very nicely. He says that actually Bhishma Dev was a very well aware and very fully conscious of his being a devotee. So secondary reason why he fought from the side of Pandava, Kauravas is given that because he was obliged. He had taken a vow that he had given a promise to Shantanu and Satyavati that I will always side on the throne. So whoever sits on a throne, I'll remain royal to that throne. So that vachan he had given. So that was the reason that he fought from. Although he knew that Pandavas are virtuous, Kaurava side is evil side, Pandava side is virtuous side, Krishna is on Pandava side, surely Pandavas are going to win. All these things he knew. But because he had given that particular promise that I will always side on the throne, because Satyavati had demanded that only her descendants will become the inheritance of throne, not Bhishma. So Bhishma had taken a vow that I will not marry. But she said, but you may not marry, but you will kill all the people of my progeny, and then you may become a king. So what about that? Of course, this was a second. First one she says. So for that he says, I promise that I will become a servant of the throne. Your children will become inheritance of the throne, and I will become the servant of. I'll always very faithfully, loyally, protect, and I'll very faithfully, loyally side with the person who sits on a throne. So now Dhritarashtra was sitting, although now Pandu as well as Dhritarashtra, both are her progeny only. One sense Satyavati's progeny. Now the division is between Satyavati's progeny only. There was no question of progeny of Bhishma Dev, right? Both are her progeny only. But then he had given that promise that whoever sits on a throne, I'll be loyal to that. So because now Duryodhana was sitting on a throne, so he decided to be loyal. And Prabhupada says another place also because of financial considerations. So that is the third level reason, because he was paying them money. So he was becoming attached because he's paying us money. He's obliged. Second level obligation was because of that vachan, that promise he had given. But Prabhupada explains in the first canto of Bhagavatam that it was Krishna's desire that Bhishma should fight on the opposite side, because Krishna wanted to show to the whole world that even the most powerful person on the side of adharma cannot be victorious. That was a lesson Krishna wanted to give to the whole world. That's why Krishna uses his own devotees as instruments to teach the lessons to the world. And same thing with Arjuna also. Arjuna is very well aware of Krishna being Supreme Lord, because he is a devotee, great devotee, and neither he is a person who can be weakened by material attachments. But Krishna purposefully put him into this illusion in order to give the teachings of Bhagavad Gita to all of us. So that is what Prabhupada clarified in the preface also. Preface Prabhupada says that Arjuna was a great devotee, so there was no question of illusion ever overcoming him. On the other hand, he was constantly with Krishna, so there is no question of illusion overcoming him. But then he was purposefully put into illusion so that Krishna gets the opportunity to speak Bhagavad Gita. So these are the kind of instruments in the Lord's hand. These pure devotees, these are the instruments in the Lord's hand in order to teach some lessons for the world. So Bhishma or Arjun, they are like that. So that's why this is the answer. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Guruji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.